Hello, everybody. So, welcome to Beyond the Stars Astrology. I am Joachim, your host, and in this video, let's discuss chapter 1 of medical astrology. Since we have a full moon in Revati Ashwini Nakshatra this month, I was thinking to focus a little bit on the basics into a little bit more advanced concepts of medical astrology. Now, the basic astrology ideas related to medical astrology in this course will mainly be focused on understanding which parts of the body, organs, and the glands especially are connected to different planets, grahas, known in Sanskrit, the zodiac sign, rashis, and houses, the bhavas. So while we won't spend a lot of time here on general astrological principles or nakshatras, it's important to understand the basics to follow along. So we're going to start with the basics of planetary relationships and its dignity in the chart. So in medical astrology, dignity is one of the most important factors to consider. It helps us figure out which planets are causing severe health issues and which are supporting good health, and also how we then gonna recover from health. So dignity shows how comfortable or strong a planet or a graha in the zodiac sign or the rashi is placed. Now, there are 9 levels of dignity that the planets have. It's well known to be exaltation. This is the highest strength. Mula Trikona, second best strength. Own Rashi, very comfortable and self-going. Great French Rashis. Positive support. French Rashi is very friendly. Neutral Rashi is then neutral, not bad, not good. And then we start with the enemies Rashi, and that's where planets are being weakened. Great enemies relationships even further weakened, and then debilitation would be the lowest strength. Now I have a table here of exaltations and debilitations, Mula Trikona and own Rashis, and as you can see, the deepest exaltation and debilitation degree for the sun is in Aries and Libra at 10 degrees. For the moon in Taurus and Scorpio at 3 degrees. For Mars in Capricorn and Cancer at 28 degrees. Mercury in Virgo and Pisces 15 degrees. Then Jupiter at 5 degrees in Cancer and Capricorn, and Venus 27 in Pisces and Virgo, and then Saturn 20 degrees in Libra and Aries. And then also we have the Mula Trikona degrees and its own Rashi, which is very important. So for the Sun, this is in Leo. The first 20 degrees would be its Mula Trikona, or the second best, very powerful positions actually, Mula Trikona. And then from 20 to 30 degrees, that would be in Leo its own Rashi. And so every planet has these specific degrees, which you have to kind of know by heart if you want to take astrology seriously. So these relationships are extremely important when it comes to also aspects by enemies or friends, and other avasthas are then also calculated. Now, if a planet is not in its exaltation or debilitation, Mula Trikona or own sign, then its strength depends on how friendly the ruler of that sign feels towards the planet. Now, you can ask yourself, why does the dignity really matter? This relationship between a planet and the ruler of that house. So the higher a planet's dignity, the more positive its influence in the chart, and especially on health of the person. So planets In exaltation, Mula Trikona own Rashi, great friends Rashi, bringing good results and are very helpful. Now, planets in a neutral Rashi don't have much of an effect, good or bad, which you will have to then see what the aspects are also on this planet. But planets in an enemy Rashi, great enemy Rashi, or debilitation bring negative results and can cause severe health issues, actually. So, dignity is the key factor in understanding whether a planet's energy is helping or harming health. Then we also, like I said, we have these planetary relationships. So, to understand the concept of dignity, it's important to learn how planets or the grahas relate to each other. So, just like in human relationships, some planets may be friendly towards others, but the feeling may not be mutual. So, for example, one planet might be acting like a friend to another planet, but the other planet might not feel the same way towards that planet. So, this uneven relationship can affect the planet's dignity and its ability also to influence your health. Now, these natural relationships between planets are very important for understanding how strong or weak it is in a certain zodiac sign or Rashi. So keep in mind that these relationships helps us figure out how favorable or unfavorable a planet's effect will be on our health. And so I have a table here of these natural relationships, especially when you have then also conjunctions in a certain bhava, in a certain rashi, especially the sixth house and the first house. You want to check these houses. So for the sun, Moon, Mars, and Jupiter are its friends. Mercury is neutral, and Venus and Saturn are the enemies to the Sun. So for the Moon, Sun, and Mercury are its friends. So Mercury is friendly towards the Moon, but what you see, Moon is Mercury's only enemy. So Moon will not return this relationship to Mercury. And Moon also has no enemies. So Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn will be neutral. For Mars, Sun, Moon, and Jupiter are its friends. Venus and Saturn are neutral to Mars, and Mercury is the enemy to Mars. And we will discuss in later chapters why these relationships are the way they are. So for Mercury, Sun, and Venus are its friends. Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn are neutral, and Moon is its enemy. Jupiter friends are Sun, Moon, and Mars. Saturn is neutral, and Mercury and Venus are enemies towards Jupiter. So we have now Jupiter transiting retrograde today in tropical Rashi of Gemini. So in my previous videos, you will see why Mercury's influence to Jupiter as the Lord of the Rashi is being complicated. So for Venus, Mercury, and Saturn are its friends. Mars and Jupiter are neutral, and the Sun and the Moon are Venus' enemies. Now, Saturn's friends are Mercury and Venus, Jupiter is neutral, and Sun, Moon, and Mars are Saturn's enemies. So, these relationships, I repeat it over and over again for many other concepts next to medical astrology, especially the Avasthas. These relationships, it's very important to know them by heart. Then we also have temporary planetary relationships. So this is not so important because it is calculated into the compound relationship, which then makes a great friend or a great enemy, for example. So the natural relationship between planets aren't always fixed. They can change based on where the planets are placed at the time of birth, but these are called temporary relationships, and it's good to know them to some extent. And so according to a rule from the ancient text Brihad Parashara Shastra, planets that are positioned in certain places relative to each other can be friends or enemies temporarily. So planets that are in the second, the third, and the fourth from it are its friends, and also the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th position. So planets that are in the other positions are each other's act as enemies. So you want to just see the temporary relationship of a planet, any planet, the second, the third, and the fourth position from it are friends. Also the last three positions, so the 10th, 11th, and 12th house from that planet is also its friends, and all the rest are enemies. So the planets in these three zodiac signs in front and behind a planet will be friends. Planets that are together in the same sign or placed in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th positions from each other will be enemies. So a conjunction will be then a temporary enemy. So this helps us understand how planets' relationships shift depending on their positions in the birth chart, affecting their influence on health. I hope this is a little bit clear, but like I said, the temporary relationships is not so important. The main focus here will then be next to the natural relationship, then also the combined relationship of the natural relationship with the temporary relationship. And that is making the great enemy or the great friend position relationship. And that is important because a great enemy will be a cause for greater illness. So temporary relationship between planets are not important by themselves. They only matter when combined with natural relationship of planets. So together these two types form what is called a combined relationship. And this combined relationship, according to the Brihad Parashahora Shastra, can be summarized as if two planets are both naturally and temporarily friendly, they have a great friendship. If one planet is friendly and the other is neutral, they will be simply friends. So neutral and temporary enemy makes also enemy, and friendly and an enemy becomes neutral. So if both planets are enemies, they become great enemies. So this combined relationships helps us determine the dignity of a planet in a Rashi, in a bhava, which tells us if its influence is good, auspicious, or not good or inauspicious. So understanding these planetary relationships is very important in predictive astrology, medical astrology. So make sure that you know them thoroughly. Then over here, I have an example of one chart. I took a screenshot of today's transit when Jupiter is now turning retrograde. And then over here in your software or your app, then you will see, according sidereal or tropically, you will see the dignity, you will see the degree inside the house, you will see the Rashi, and then you will see the dignity, and that means its relationship. So it means Sun in Libra is debilitated. So this is already a cause of concern. Moon in Sagittarius in its relationship with Jupiter becomes an enemy. So why is that? Let us take this example of the moon. We see moon is in Sagittarius, and if we go back, it says here in the enemy sign. If we go back, Jupiter becomes neutral to the moon in its natural relationship and its temporary relationship. Jupiter is situated in the seventh house from it. So what we have seen is that the seventh from it becomes an enemy. Therefore, a natural relationship which is neutral with a temporary enemy becomes an enemy, and therefore you see here an enemy sign. Now let us check Mercury here, which is considered a great friend. Where is Mercury? Mercury is in Libra in the house of Venus, and Venus is a natural friend to Mercury. Let us check. Venus is its friend. Now, in the first house, it becomes, where is Venus positioned? It is in the second house from its position, and that becomes also a temporary friend, because the second position from that position is also a friend, and a natural friend plus a temporary friend becomes a great friend. And so the same goes with great enemies. So Jupiter over here in its retrograde motion is in a great enemy Rashi here, so there's going to be some complications. And to know a little bit about this transit, you can go to my previous video. I hope that is clear. So now the important one comes, because Brihat Parashahora Shastra gives a lot of importance to the Avasthas in the later chapters. And from those 5 conditions that the planet has, there is also the Deeptaadi Avasthas. And this is where it becomes important. So Avashta means a condition, and in Vedic astrology, different groups of Avashtas indicate the condition of a planet or a graha. So Deeptaadi means Deepta and refers to a group of 9 Avashtas that are very useful in medical astrology. And so Deepta is radiant. The order of these 9 Avashtas from best to worst is Deepta, radiant, Svashta, self-abiding, Pramudita, also known as Mudita, is delighted, Shanta, serene, Dina, scarce, Dukkita, miserable, Vikala, impaired, Kala, low, and Kopi, angry. This is an interesting condition, that these compound relationships form a specific avashta. So Deeptaadi Avasthas give a quite clear idea of the effect of a planet in the horoscope as a whole. So that's where we're going to focus now on. The Deepta, or the radiant Avashta, of course, that's the best one. It's a planet is radiant when it's in its exaltation Rashi, and this is the strongest state where the planet is full of energy, promotes excellent health. Svashta, self-abiding Avashta, when it's in its own sign, and this state means the planet is comfortable, confident, promotes solid health, is very self-going, works on its own. Delighted, or the Mudita Avashta, is when it's in a great friend's sign, which is also very positive. Just like we feel happy at a best friend's house party, this planet feels comfortable and promotes good health. Shanta, or serene, is a planet in a friend's sign. It feels peaceful, calm, and usually does not cause health problems. Now, in the neutral state, or in the Dina, the planet becomes scarce and it doesn't cause harm or give benefic benefits. However, a planet in this state can get tired easily and needs proper care to avoid becoming fatigued, though it won't cause disease, but a planet signifying a certain position can become tired very easily. And then the important one in medical astrology, because we want to analyze as doctors where the problem actually lies and how we can heal. So actually, as if you do good astrology, you, in some circles, they say we operate better than doctors, because doctors have a 30 to a 40% success rate by analyzing through certain symptoms you might have, and they describe you certain medication for it. But with astrology, we can actually go to the root of a problem, and the chances that we will be wrong are not so high. It is, if you do good observations, it's pretty clear what is going on in the chart. So we are actually, as astrologers, not given the respect in Western society that we should get, and we definitely not get paid for it too. So um, now the Dukita miserable Avashta is when a planet is in an enemy sign and it feels uncomfortable, just like we feel unhappy in a hostile environment. So in this state, the planet can cause serious health problems and diseases already. And Vikala, impaired Avasta, is a planet which is conjunct Mars, Saturn, or Rahu or Ketu. And we're not going to take the outer planets here, but with Mars, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu, or the waning moon, especially the dark moon. So these harmful planets weaken the planet, affecting its ability to keep the body healthy. For example, Saturn will cause sluggishness. Rahu brings poison related problems. Ketu can cause bacterial issues or hidden issues. Mars can really cause physical damage, and waning moon or dark moon affects your emotional well being and also affects your overall growth. So then the next 1 minute here. The next one is Kala, or the low Avashta, and this is a state in debilitation. This is its weakest point, and the planet can cause very low bodily functions and often leads to illnesses. But okay, the debilitation we will have to check in more detail. And then also the Kopi is a planet becomes angry when it's very close to the sun, or also what is that? I forgot now. When a planet is close to the sun, it becomes agitated because the sun's powerful energy makes other planets feel frustrated and unable to work very well, which can cause certain health problems that are hard to solve. And especially in combination with Mars, one can become very angry. Mars can become angry when it is too close to the sun. Now, as you can see, there could be multiple avastas in one house with one planet because of the conjunctions that are being formed in the same house. So, for example, if in a certain sign or Rashi and also close to a harmful planet or the sun, it will show the effects of both avastas to that planet. And that's what you have to note in your birth chart. So note that if a planet is with the sun, it is always in Kopi or angry Avashta and not Vikala, impaired. So part of these impaired Avastas, sun is not part of these harmful planets in conjunction. It will always create a Kopi or angry state. And what else we have here? So understanding these avastas will help us to predict how well or poorly a planet will then support health. Now, that said, if we then have the birth chart in Vedic astrology, then we especially also want to, next to the Rashi chart or the D1, specific Vargas are also related to health issues. And this will be the D30. And I would also say the D27 is like an extension of the D1, where also you will see dosha, constitution, how well you are protected against disease, and so on. And then the D30 is then really much related to fatalities, because that is what Brihat Parasha Hora Shastra is stating. It states that the Trin Shamsha, or the D30, is to be used for arishtas or fatalities. So the Trim Shamsha is the primary Varga bearing on disease. So the most important house in the Trim Shamsha is the sixth house, is the house of disease. That you want to check, and it's Lord. So the sixth Bhava represents those problems that we are meant to use our skill and intelligence for to overcome. And so the Trim Samsha has to do with those diseases and 10 ailments that we are meant to fight against in order to live a better and a happier life. So then also the D27 shows strengths and weaknesses related to illness, physical, mental, emotional, and also the vitality, your constitution, your dosha, and also your stamina and ability to recover from illness. So you definitely want to check those positions. That is important. And of course, in the Rashi chart, we have the first house, which is related to the body and the character. And also the sixth house would be a major player in analyzing health issues. So you want to check the sixth house and the first house in the Rashi chart, also in the D30, D27, to see if there are some serious issues there. Now, on top of this, also, it is to be noted that the D40, which is generally known for in-depth journeys, spirituality, gurus, and so on, past life karmas, but especially according to Parashara, it is related to Shubha and Ashubha, which is considered auspicious and inauspicious results. And of course, we see then sometimes that diseases is related to certain transits over the D40. So D40 in general is life's fulfillment and the auspicious and inauspicious effects that will arise there. So you want to also check into the D40 if D27 and D30, D1 are not giving certain effects to your observations, then mostly this will be found in the D40. And then, of course, the Shadbala is very important. And most of you will recognize Shadbala in your software as this graph here. Okay, we have different graphs, but this is with different calculations, but this is a total of 6 strengths that gives a certain ability to be healthy or to be subject to illness. So you, next to analyzing the Rashis, the Deeptaadi Avasthas, the compound relationship, you also want to check what is the Shadbala doing. And with Shadbala, you can go in more detail, but this is now just a general observation here for you to become familiar with. So keep in mind, these are the very important Vargas, Shadbala, system, Deeptaadi Avasthas, in order to start your medical astrology journey. So problematic houses in astrology will, of course, be subject to creating health issues. So we know the Dushtana houses, we have the cruel houses, and we have the Maraka houses. So in astrology, certain houses or the bhavas and their ruling planets can indicate serious health problems. So let's have a look at the 3 main types, starting with the Dushtana houses, which are the 6th house, the 8th, and the 12th house. And they are considered bad houses or evil houses. And they can create health issues because they often cause these worst conditions when it comes to medical astrology. So when planets are in these houses in a bad dignity, weak or unfavorable positions, or in bad Deeptaadi Avasthas, they can cause severe, debilitating, and crippling illnesses to a person. So even if a planet is not in bad dignity, being in the Dushtana itself can still make the body weaker and prone to health issues. So these houses are important. So then you also have the cruel houses, which is the second, third, sixth, eighth, 11th, and 12th. So these are all the other houses except the Kendra houses and the trine houses. And they are also more likely to cause some health issues if the planets in these houses or their lords are in a bad deep Tadi Avashta. So the worst of these are then, of course, the Dushtana houses, but the third and the 11th house also contribute to health concerns since they are connected to the eighth and the sixth house. So then we have the Maraka houses or death inflicting houses. So you want to check, of course, these. The second house and the seventh house are called Maraka Bhavas because they can bring about death or life-threatening illnesses. And planets in these houses in a bad deep Tadi Avashta or in a bad compound relationship, which is a bad dignity, or their lords in bad dignity are more likely to cause serious health issues. So second house, it is considered the house of speech, the throat area, food intake. And literally by speech, sometimes we can kill or severely affect a person negatively. So we have to keep our speech intact. Also, by the food that we intake, we can have food poisoning, for example, and therefore second house is considered to be a death inflicting house. And then the seventh house, of course, business partnerships, relationships. If these planets cause severe damage and together with the nodes can cause the death, we see it, or serious health issues to a person. So the key takeaway is if a planet is in bad dignity and a bad deep tadi avashta or weak in one of these problematic houses, Dushtana, the cruel or Maraka, it becomes a source of illness. So when these planets are connected to these specific houses, the health issues can become very serious and life-threatening. Now, to take it a step further, because we're going to dive very deep into the human design. So, and planets are also related to our organs, our glands, and different systems in the body. So, in astrology, if a planet, for example, has then also low Shatbala, it indicates that the system or the organ or the gland that the planet rules is then also weak inside the body. This doesn't necessarily mean there will be disease if only the Shatbala is low, but it suggests that the body part linked to that planet may not function as strongly or energetically as it could. So similarly, when a planet is in a Dushtana, in the 6th, 8th, or 12th house, it shows already weakness due to being stress on the body. So again, this doesn't guarantee immediate illness, but if the body parts ruled by this planet are continuously stressed, there is a higher chance of illness developing over time. And that's where you have to also follow the transit of Saturn, transit of Rahu or Ketu, because when they will be transiting your sixth house, for example, and you have a planet in the sixth house, which is a Dushtana house, in low Shatbala, it can weaken that body part, and then eventually during that transit cause disease. And I have seen then when the transit, especially also when you take in consideration nakshatras, leaves that specific nakshatra, then also miraculously the person starts healing, even by being still in the sixth house. So we look at the degrees a little bit more specific, but by miracle, people who are thinking they will never get better from this and it's going to take weeks till I will recover, but when this transit is then over, I have seen this in the sixth house, by miracle they start getting better. And this is why astrology just keeps amazing me day by day. So disease causing organs, glands, and systems. So planets that are then in bad Deeptaadi Avasthas are more likely to cause serious diseases. And if these same planets are then also in low Shadbala, placed in a Dushtana, uh, they or other unfavorable avastas on top of that, they can lead to even more serious and intense health problems. So yeah, thank you for watching. That was part one of a medical astrology course here for the month of Ashwini Nakshatra. I was thinking this is a great idea. So the planets are inspiring me for doing this course. I'll upload this freely on YouTube. If you want to connect with me, the links are in the description box. I also have a free birth chart calculator if you want to see how your birth chart is with tropical rashis and sidereal nakshatras together. And for that, I leave it for part one of this course. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next recording.